Welcome back everyone to another Bitcoin update and weekend low volume. Not too much has really happened today. We have seen a little bit of a downtrend, but nothing too serious. Overall, this trend to the upside still technically remains intact for a larger degree B wave bounce, in which this final C wave and the B wave bounce could go out a couple of different ways. Firstly, we have an A wave up, a B wave down, and we could be in some stage of this C wave, whether we are in the first wave, then a second wave down, then a third, fourth, and a fifth before going lower. Or if this was our 1-2 setup here, this was all of our third wave, now we're getting a fourth wave correction, fifth wave move up, and then a downfall. Or if this will turn into a larger degree A, B, C before heading lower as well. That's always a possibility. So there's a few different ways that this C wave can go about. We're just kind of tracking this main white scenario, and what would kind of differentiate between this being a three wave move so far and then this being our fourth wave and then a fifth wave move up, or if this was overall a larger degree first wave and then a second wave and then a third wave up. Well, we just kind of have to wait and see for what price action will do and how we react to different resistances. Obviously, the more impulsive that we get and the shorter that this correction is, if we kind of just get a short correction and then go higher, well, it could always just be an extension of the first wave, but it just becomes more and more apparent and more likely for it to just be part of this larger degree if it would just be part of this larger degree 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move up if we do start to head higher sooner. Now obviously catalyst events are always here with the whole Iran and US situation. Kind of seems like the strait is now closed again, so that sent the price a little bit lower as well. So we'll kind of just have to wait and see. Maybe a catalyst will send us straight up, or maybe a catalyst will also send us down further into our support zone as well, between 67,700 to 73,200. Now, if we are indeed in this larger 1-2 setup, we could expect a B, C corrective move to the downside. Like we always say, it's not a magnet, it is a support zone. So if we were to fall, we can expect or possibly find support within this area as well. So what we want to see from this move would be a 3-wave corrective move if we do fall, and from support we want to see a micro 5-wave move up and a 3-wave move down to indicate we could have had a local bottom in place. That would be very nice to see. Now obviously right now we are pretty much just going based off of the war in Iran. A lot of price action has been fluctuated by that, but overall it kind of adds a very nice I guess just overall it just adds more weight to pretty much our overall B wave bounce that we have been talking about for a couple of months. And although it kind of seems like a coincidence that these scenarios are happening just right as soon as this war is happening, I mean, that's typically how price action and Elliot wave works with catalysts and stuff like that. So it's very important to know about. We'll kind of go about the RSI really quickly. We have entered back into the neutral territory for the 4 hour. On the 1 hour, we are getting pretty close to the oversold territory. And on the daily, we have seen a rejection within that trend line in which we were talking about. It went a little above it, but now we're kind of seeing a small rejection below it. And then on the weekly, that also weekly RSI still remains within that trend line that we were talking about, still remains below it. And if we head over to liquidity on the 30-day, heavy liquidity in terms of shorts that are piling up right above the price. And then obviously we have these longs that have built up below the price as well. Here at 73,000 to this one at 75,000, and then this larger one back here at 70,500 to about 69,000. Both align very well with our support zone. On the 7-day, you can kind of widen up the support a little bit. So this one at 75,400 to 74,000, and then you have this larger one here at 73,500 to about 72,000, and then obviously the smaller clusters to 69,000. On the heat map, we have started to see longs start to pile in below the price now that we have fallen. What we were talking about a couple of days ago is, you can see here, as price was starting to go higher and higher, liquidity was starting to build more and more at this price top. Now that we've gone lower, we can see that larger liquidity has been building below, but also, like we have said before, this large liquidity remains at the top as well, just because from a lot of people shorting up here, funding rate being negative, and then heavy shorting up right above this price. So that's very something that needs to be watched out for as well. And on the weekly, we're pretty much between these two zones. We obviously have, this is our larger liquidity zone up here of shorts that could possibly be wiped out, just because these are later shorts as well. They're just heavy shorting as the price goes up. You have the large liquidity here, breaks above it, and then more and more people short. So you just continue to break and liquidate that liquidity above it. Compared to longs, you obviously have this large zone down here at set basically between 69 to 73,000. We have a larger liquidity zone below. And on the 2 week, it is, let's see if it's something similar. It is. It would be very similar to essentially what we were saying up here. On the 2 week, we do see more liquidity towards the downside compared to the upside, just in terms of brightness. But yeah, not too much to say about that. Pretty much the same thing that we have been talking about. If we head over to open interest, we have seen open interest fall to these previous levels, just kind of our indication that the downtrend is still in. Obviously, at any point, even with divergences on open interest, you can still see price pumps afterwards as well. Even though this was from a catalyst event with Trump posting about the Strait of Hormuz, it's just still something to look out for as well. And on the funding rate, we have seen still negative in the funding rate, but we have now kind of entered more towards this neutral area, although we are still negative compared to positive. When you kind of get lower and lower in funding rate, you kind of just enter a more neutral zone down here. But obviously over the weekend, as we were kind of slightly going sideways, we were pushing up a little bit, but now we are starting to get more towards that neutral area if we do continue to keep falling. So that would be very nice to see as well. So what we can kind of expect over the next 24 hours, well, obviously it's a weekend. As long as there isn't a catalyst, we can just expect maybe a little bit more downtrend or sideways price action. If come this trading week, what would be ideal and obviously best would be a nice corrective move to the downside and then getting a impulse off from support. That would be the most ideal situation, just because this would be a 1-2 setup, third, fourth, and a fifth. We can possibly head higher in this zone up here compared to if we just kind of go higher here. If this was our 1-2 setup, now we're just kind of going in our third wave, fourth wave, and fifth wave up. We may not go as high in this move just because we have been so overextended and just going up so much in this move, where obviously, as we know, nothing goes up forever. And once we kind of cool off in this move, we could see a drop from there as well. So it price wise, and I guess what would make the price go higher? Well, obviously if we set up a 1-2 setup and go higher, obviously you never know if we're in this support zone, a catalyst comes, then we break below, and then we could possibly, then that could have been possibly all of our B wave. Keep in mind, at any point this B wave could top this overall B wave. What if this was all of our B wave right here? It's always something that you need to keep in mind as well. But in terms of price action, it would look best if we get a 3-wave move down, bounce off of support, and head higher as well. So for the coming week, we can definitely see liquidity grabs within our support, and then also up above our high of this range. And yeah, we just kind of have to wait and see for what price will do. So yeah, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.